Another bombshell report from The Atlantic about Donald Trump's embattled FBI director. Today, the magazine published this photo of, quote, Cash Patel bourbon. The bottle, which The Atlantic purchased on eBay, also features a rendering of an FBI shield. The report says, quote, Patel has given out bottles of his personalized whiskey to FBI staff, as well as civilians he encounters in his duties. That is according to 8 people, including current and former FBI and Department of Justice employees and others who are familiar with the matter. In a statement to the magazine, an FBI spokesperson did not deny Patel hands out whiskey bottles with his name on it, called this a form of gift giving that falls in line with the Bureau's, quote, ethics rules. The whiskey scoop comes from Atlantic journalist Sarah Fitzpatrick. It is a follow-up to her reporting from last month, diving into Patel's controversial tenure as FBI director. The report comes on the same day. 2 sources tell MS Now the FBI launched a criminal leak investigation into Fitzpatrick's reporting on Patel. Publicly, an FBI spokesperson denied such an investigation. Also today, the FBI raided the office of Virginia State Senator Louise Lucas this morning. She recently led Virginia's redistricting effort to counter Trump's push to rig the midterms. Details about that raid remain murky. We do know an investigation started under the Biden Justice Department, but over the course of the last 3 years, no charges have been filed. MS Now also learned Trump lackey Lindsay Halligan had been pushing to bring charges in the case. That was before a judge removed Halligan as an interim U.S. attorney, ruling her appointment was unlawful.
So all of the stories are connected here. I will note that Cash Patel, on April 10th, Sarah Fitzpatrick, she wrote a story on April 17th that starts with, on April 10th, Cash Patel could not log into his FBI account, essentially. He couldn't get into the system, and instead of thinking he just had the wrong password, he thought he was fired and started calling his allies, and people in the FBI then started calling the White House and Congress asking, who is the FBI director, if not Cash Patel? So I don't know if this is boding well for his prospects, but Michael, Alicia, they have been attacking our democracy from the beginning. They are actively trying to dismantle it. By they, I mean the White House, the current Republican Party apparatus, and they are doing it in various ways. They're attacking the journalists and journalism. They're attacking their quote-unquote opponents, other duly elected Democratic leaders. They are trafficking and sowing misinformation and disinformation. They don't want to answer any questions. We're going to slippery slide, dive into some crazy stuff.
I hear you, Simone, but we got bourbon, so we're good. That's the level that we're at, folks. I mean, Simone has laid out the indictment against not only this FBI director and the agency itself, but this administration. And yet it boils down to actions like this, where you just get your own little personal bottle of bourbon. I mean, Alicia, what does that say about where we are here?
It says we are deep into dysfunction, but that also we've known that this was all coming, right? Mm-hmm. They've actually told us that their plan was to go after all of the institutions that uphold our democracy. There was an actual playbook, and now we are watching them run the play. So, Simone, to your point, devastating, upsetting, but not surprising.
I went back, Simone, and I was trying to find in Project 2025 the section that said we need to get a personal bottle.
Now, that I do believe was improvised, which, kudos, I guess, to Cash Patel for trying to put his own spin on it. But, again, I think it does always goes back to Project 2025. To Alicia's point, they telegraphed to us. Yeah. We had, again, Kevin Roberts, he's not about Trump. This is about imbuing Trumpism.
Of journalists in leak investigations. There might be investigation of the leaker, but not the journalist. In fact, the Biden administration tried to, in part, codify this with internal regulations. Those got walked back by this administration. And so, what I'm concerned about here is really twofold. One is that potentially the administration could call Sarah Fitzpatrick to testify, issue a subpoena for that, and then she would have to either give up her sources or potentially face, some sort of judicial consequence. The other is that the administration starts seeking digital data from her or other people at the Atlantic, a search warrant for their email accounts, bank accounts, and so forth as part of this investigation. I will just say one thing, this administration has absolutely collapsed the credibility of the Department of Justice, the FBI in general. I think it's going to be really incumbent on magistrate judges in investigations like these to try to look past just the initial things that the department is saying in seeking these search warrants to try to understand, is this for a proper or improper purpose?